Hey guys, Nikki Wood. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that I think is really important, and that's expectations and how expectations are really ruining our lives, right? We as human beings, we do this and it's something we kind of can't help. It just sort of happens. So it's something we need to be really self-aware of that we're doing. Now, a lot of times the areas that we have expectations in our lives are in situations that occur, right? We expect things to turn out a certain way. We have expectations with others, whether that's friends, coworkers, romantic partners, right? Just people in general. And we also have expectations with ourselves, right? Ways we think we should be, or things we think we should be doing, or certain ways, we think things should turn out for us. So where are the expectations ruining our lives? Well, an expectation is sort of an idea of something that may or may not be true, right? Like the future is sort of unwritten. So if you have expectations about what's going to happen, you're going to get in trouble. If you place expectations on a person, whether it's you or someone else, you're going to be in trouble because you're creating something that may or may not be true instead of allowing people to just exist as who they are and take them that way at any given moment. We're all human beings. We're not here because we're perfect. We're here because we have stuff that we need to learn and work on. And we don't have world peace because everybody's different and not everybody gets along and has the same ideas and values and beliefs of things. And I think that's okay. It gives us areas where we can learn and grow about other people or things we find out that we like or we don't like. And that's all right. But, if you place an expectation on something and it doesn't turn out the way that you wanted, you're always going to be disappointed. And what I see is that people get stuck in these spaces, right? Well, I thought it was going to go this, I thought I was going to go in and get a raise and it turns out I'm not doing this and that and whatever. And, I can't believe it because I worked so hard and it's like, well, are you working hard? Are you doing that? Are you, it's sort of like you have to kind of be objective about the situation. Maybe the person's just a really big jerk and they're coming down on you because they don't like you, but maybe you're not really doing your job, So you have to take the expectations off of it and be able to look at it objectively instead of just getting mad that the situation didn't go the way that you wanted to. I see people that are complaining about things in the past that have already happened that they can't change, and there's nothing they can do about it, and they still sit in that place of disgruntlement and upset, and it's really not doing anything except preventing them from moving forward, right? Sometimes it's just not your problem. Sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with you. Sometimes it's just extenuating circumstances and you need to let it go and move on. If we're talking about expectations in personal relationships, the most common thing that I get is, sometimes friendships, but a lot of times romantic relationships. I met this really great guy and it turns out he does this and that, or, he was treating me this way. And it's like, well, maybe he's really a jerk and you thought he was a nice guy because you want based on how you liked him, not how he was treating you, and now you're disappointed because you thought he was X, Y, and Z and he's not, and that's okay. It's not your job to, expect somebody to be a certain way, but it is your job to allow them to be who they are and see if you like that or not based on who they are, and so I think we get into trouble a lot of times that way, and that's not only bad for you because you are disappointed, but it's also bad for the other person because they were just being themselves and all of a sudden they're a jerk and they don't know why, and whether that jerkiness is actual jerkiness or whether it's just them not meeting the expectation that you had, you have to really decipher that and see if that's what the reality of the situation is. Maybe you date somebody who's not a really big romantic and you're a kind of girl that likes flowers and you like doors open and that sort of thing, but that's just not how this person is. But maybe they're really great in other ways. Maybe they always make sure you have a lunch or a ride, or they call you to make sure you got home from work okay. There's all these different things that could be happening. Just because you expected something different doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means they do it a different way, right? But now you're mad at somebody who really isn't a bad person. They just didn't do it the way you wanted them to do it, right? So I think expectations, are really difficult when you come into situations like this. The last area that I want to talk about expectations with is with ourselves, because I think we are our own worst and harshest critic, right? We expect so much of ourselves, and whether that conditioning comes from, our type A personality, or, overachieving or overbearing parents, or just, maybe we come from a place of lack and we need to push ourselves so far forward to get to a place of worth. All of those different things can affect your own internal voice and how you talk to yourself. And I think that is something that I see a lot too with clients, with people I encounter. They have a lot of like, oh, I should be this or I should be that. Well, who says? What if you just be yourself and you do the things that make you happy and whatever everyone else thinks about it is fine. Maybe you don't have to be the president of the universe. Maybe you just have to be, the president of your own company that makes you happy, that allows you to do things that are helpful for other people and makes you feel good at the end of the day. Those are the things I think that are more important than placing these expectations on yourself. Because what happens when you don't meet your own goals? Your ego takes over and starts telling you how worthless you are and how bad you are at this and how dumb you are and how nobody should ever like you and like all of these things. And I think that's such a bad place to be. These expectations that we place are so heavy. And if we just took them off, I think our lives would be a lot freer. We would, be able to let go more easily of things that are not important for us. People, situations, ideas, viewpoints that maybe don't matter, because how are they affecting you really? How big of a deal is that? What sort of impact did that make on your life? So I think these are important things to consider when we are thinking about expectations and how realistic they are and how heavily we should place them on people or situations. Because what I find a lot of times is those expectations really are ruining our lives, ruining our connections, ruining our viewpoint of ourselves. So next time you go into a situation, go into it with a positive attitude, and an attitude where you hope that things will be good, but without the expectation of a certain reaction or a certain action or a certain outcome, because then you can just kind of enjoy the process and take or leave the experience as it is, instead of making it this whole thing that's encompassing and taking over your life. So that's what I would say about expectations. I hope that's been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's something I've noticed a lot of people doing lately too. I think the holidays and family time are really kind of crashing down sometimes in those areas. So I encourage you to loosen up your expectations and see what happens and watch things change and grow in your life for the better. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day.